Hello and welcome to Business Insider with Mario Toneguzzi on YYC Business. Joining me today is Deborah Yedlin, who is President and CEO of the Calgary Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for joining us today, Deborah.
Thanks, Mario. It's nice to see you.
All right, let's start just by the why. Why did you decide to take on this position?
Well, I saw this as an opportunity to be a voice for business, and really it's a continuation of what I've done throughout my career as a business journalist and columnist. I've been a voice for business in Calgary and tried to translate what it means for, what the macro trends mean for businesses locally. And this is another way of doing that, and doing it at a very critical time in Calgary's economic history, you could say, because we've had so many challenges, oil price downturn starting in 2015, and of course the pandemic that has just completely leveled so much of our businesses and caused so many challenges in the last 16 months. It's really an opportunity to start to pull the threads together, amplify the voice of business, and really tell the Calgary story that's changing very quickly.
Okay, tell me the kind of things that you would like to do with the Chamber, like as an organization itself.
Well, of course, we need to continue to support our members as we have over our 130-year history. So what I really, as the pandemic has taught us, is that we work and live much differently than we did 16 months ago. And the point is to understand how our businesses have changed, how our members have changed, and how they're going to continue to change and evolve and do business in this new environment. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to make sure that their wishes and their needs are properly reflected from a policy perspective to all the levels of government, federal, provincial, municipal, obviously. So those are two very important pieces. And then the third one is to collaborate with other organizations in Calgary, post-secondary institutions, social services agencies, the arts organizations, to make sure that we are as strong as we can be and look at things like making sure that we continue to repopulate the downtown core and what that looks like. So that's part of the business, the downtown business revitalization. It's also about working with post-secondary institutions to help fill the talent pipeline. We need to make sure that we've got the talent here so businesses can come here and set up so that we can also create the spin-offs that we want that are part of that new economy going forward.
Okay, as you you look at the past, say, of the Chamber, and I think going back in time, there's a certain image, I guess, what a chamber was, right? And I think mostly, it was kind of like a downtown thing, bigger companies, et cetera. What do you think the image is now of the Chamber, and what would you like it to be?
Well, I'd like it to be a voice for all business in Calgary. And I would like it to represent a collaborative image that works with everybody to make sure that we move forward as a city. That means collaborating with CED. That means talking to other organizations to make sure that we work together and that we maximize our resources. But I also know that, as you said, Mario, you're absolutely right. It was long seen as the downtown organization. We have to meet businesses where they're at in all the different quadrants of the city. It's not just about downtown. Downtown's very important, we know that, but people are all over the city. We've had so many different kinds of businesses prop up in different parts of Calgary. The logistics piece that's in the Northeast. Let's talk about how oil and gas companies like Imperial and have relocated to the Southeast. Same thing with Fluor. So we know that there are businesses throughout the city that are in different parts, and they are connected to downtown, but they're not based here anymore. So I think we really have to think about how do we connect with those businesses and represent them in where they're at in the different parts of Calgary.
Now you mentioned, obviously the challenges that have been in place here for the last few years here in Calgary, with the oil prices down and with obviously the pandemic in the last year or so. What do local businesses need right now to get back on track, I guess?
So they need a few things. First of all, they need certainty of policy. They need certainty on a taxation issue, and I think that's obviously going to become one of the issues in the municipal election as we roll into the fall. And they also need to have the talent that they require to in order to keep their businesses growing. And they need to know that they have a voice that represents their interests in the right forums. But I think the other thing we have to be mindful of is that there's so many opportunities from a business standpoint in Calgary. And we are an energy town. We know that, very important part of our economy, but we're also pivoting and we're adding different pieces to that. And that's also really important because as you attract new businesses, you have others to support your local entrepreneurs and your local enterprises. businesses need Calgarians to buy local. Businesses need Calgarians to be coming out and supporting them in every way they can. So I think it's, it's a combination of a number of different things.
Now, speaking of the buying local and supporting them, I just before this, I did an interview with Dan Kelly of the CFIB, and we were talking about the differences between Alberta and Ontario in a lot of the measures that are, in place. And luckily, for businesses in Alberta, July 1st we opened up, and one of the things I was going to ask you about is, this week Calgary Stampede is on. How important is that for a lot of the local businesses to kind of turn things around for them?
Well, I think it's a note of optimism for the city after what we've been through in the last 16 months, no question. I think the fact that we're being able to do it as a safe event, and certainly there are measures that are being put in place for people who decide to go to the grounds and partake in the events on the Stampede grounds, but also I'm hearing a lot of conversations about, well, I'm going to have a Stampede party in my backyard. And so that means, we're supporting local entrepreneurs in terms of the service sector, which have been so devastated. But broadly speaking, we're looking at more than $280 million of economic impact that the Stampede has on Calgary every year. And so, and local businesses are a big part of that. Whether you're an Uber driver or you're a caterer or you are selling water on the grounds. I mean, there's just so many pieces to this that are so important, and also the local retailers that supply us with Stampede clothing. There's just so much that goes into supporting local business on this in terms of Stampede. It's critical, and I think that as it brings people out, people have to regain a level of comfort of being out, and this could be a very good way to sort of break that mindset of everyone having been inside and not really interacting as much as they have for the last 16 months. This could be a very interesting catalyst. We'll have to see what happens.
All right, super. Well, thanks a lot, Deborah, for joining us today.
Thanks very much, Mario.
All right, super. That was Deborah Yedlin, who is the new CEO and president of the Calgary Chamber of Commerce. This has been Business Insider with Mario Toneguzzi on YYC Business. Thanks for joining us today.